Brian, you've been in a meeting today with the US Senator, the US Congresswoman, and the new Agriculture Secretary. Productive meeting?
I believe it was. Yes, sir. We got a formal announcement today of a $280 million block grant that's carved out special for the Rio Grande Valley irrigated producers. That, without our current or the previous administration would not fight for our water. And so at least they're compensating us for that loss of water through this payment. Also think it would be important to say that, Senator Cornyn, who wasn't here, Representative Vicente Gonzalez, Representative Henry Cuellar, they were all very important in this fight as well to get that money secured. And so just want to say, thank you to them as well.
What difference will this money make?
So, the ideal would be that we be able to use this to buy more irrigation water. So we need to get that water released from Mexico, or be able to buy it from other farmers that may be holding on to it. But that's the intent of this money.
But I've read reports that water, even if Mexico wanted to comply, even if President Trump really twisted their arms or threatened retaliatory action in some way, that the water's not there. It's all been used up in Chihuahua by the farms up there. Is that water available to the best of your knowledge?
So there is still some water. You're right. Chihuahua has used a huge percentage of the water that fell in 2022. But there's still a lot of water that's left in the Rio San Juan and the Rio Alamos. And, that's not part of the treaty, but through the negotiations that were held last fall, that we start accepting some of that water, Mexico pushed a pause on that delivery, and so we went through all the hoops and everything else to accept this water from Mexico that's not treaty water. And then as soon as we accept the first little bit, well, then they push pause on that. So there is some water out there that's available. There's still, Mexico has water in Falcon and Amistad under their ownership that could be transferred into the U.S.'s name as well.
We heard in the press conference that we've lost the sugar industry in the valley. How serious a situation is it now for citrus? How close to the edge is the citrus industry in general here at going out of business for lack of water?
It is very critical for the citrus. This is a peak time of irrigation. They're blooming or just finished blooming, so that means they've got all sorts of little bitty fruit set on that tree, and so that's when they need to really start feeding this. And so I believe last year there was about 6,000 acres of citrus that was pushed out, and there's farmers that are wanting to plant citrus right now, and they just don't have the water. I mean, the trees are actually getting too big in the greenhouse right now for them, but they can't put them in the field because they don't have the water.
I know you don't represent the municipalities, but the smaller municipalities that rely on push water, are they in a serious situation as well?
I know it got into a serious situation last year, and it probably they did get their allocations back up, but they'll go through them again quickly if we don't have the ag water to help push that water along.
You were in Austin the other day. You testified before the Water, Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee. What was the feedback you got from the members up there after your testimony?
So, yes, sir. I testified in front of the Senate Ag and Water hearing. And, I think this was the first time that I really felt like the state of Texas is willing to step up and start helping fight for our water, because the water is the property of the state of Texas. It's not my water, it's actually the water that belongs to the state of Texas. And so to hear Senator Perry and then the other senators there, Senator Adam Hinojosa, really wanting to start fighting for Texas's rights and Texas property is what it is.
But you also made a point that we shouldn't base a water strategy on relying on water from another country. So long term, what are the other options?
So, long term, they are looking at, brackish and desal and those kind of things. And so it is something that we need to be looking forward to. Because the Rio Grande Valley is growing, the state of Texas, the population is growing. And so everybody's pulling more and more on water. So we need to definitely be finding other sources. We've been fighting for the ECAP there was just economic assistance that was just announced actually yesterday, and pushing forward for the natural disaster assistance that should be coming shortly as well. So,
Thank you so much for today's interview.
you're welcome. Thank you.